Hello, welcome to the Mr. Lamb Science Corner. We're going to take a look at the element helium today. And helium comes from the word Helios, who's a Greek god of the sun. Um, and the reason it was called that is because by using a topic we haven't talked about, spectroscopy, they actually take a look at the sunlight, and if you break them down with a prism, you'll see dark lines, and we can use that to identify elements in sunlight. It's how we know what various stars are composed of, and so we do this. And the tricky part is that when they looked at the sun, they found lines of elements of an element that were pretty prominent, which meant that it was pretty common in the sun, and we had no idea. We'd never seen it here on Earth. So um, they named it Helios, and they knew it came from the sun. And it wasn't until 30 years later they discovered it here on Earth. And it turns out that helium is mostly found in the Midwest of America and from various different natural gas wells. And so there are some wells that have a significant amount of helium that we separate out, and that's how we do things like balloons and whatnot. And quite frankly, we're kind of running out of it, and they're kind of worried about that. Uh, I'm not sure what that's going to happen, except it may be enjoy your balloons now because you may not have them later. Um, like I said, it's Helios uh, from the way it was discovered, and it has the atomic number of 2 and the atomic weight of 4.003. So it has 2 protons, and it has different isotopes, so they're not, but mostly it's 2 protons and 2 neutrons, making up a total weight of 4. So it's also the second lightest element, and they're now saying about 25%, uh, give or take a little, of the atoms in the universe are helium. And so if you take a look at 75% is hydrogen and 25% is helium, that doesn't leave a whole lot for everything else, like us, because we're made of various different elements, including we do like our oxygen, and we do like our carbon, because even though carbon has a bad rep now, if you don't eat carbon, you've got a serious problem. And magnesium and iron and all the things that make up us, uh, basically 1% or so, thereabouts. So anyway, and then in atomic notation, it's He, that's a symbol of helium, and that's easy to know because helium is He, it starts with He. 2 protons, grand total of 2 protons and 2 neutrons. Okay, and then what is it used for? Well, I've mentioned balloons, but that's a kind of a so-so thing. Really important, it's the first known superconductor. Now, superconductor is a topic we'll talk about probably much later, but basically it eliminates any electrical resistance. And when you use helium, it doesn't help a whole lot, except in very specialized circumstances, because you have to get it very, very cold, within about 4 degrees of absolute zero. Uh, the push is on to try to find superconductors that are superconductors at warmer temperatures. And they've gotten it up to about the temperature of liquid nitrogen, which is a lot easier to get because there's a lot more nitrogen in the world. And if they could get a if you read science fiction, you'll read that they have room temperature superconductors, and that's a nice dream. And who knows, we might even find something that will do that. It will change world drastically if we have no electrical resistance in circuits. You have no heat production. We can do that. It also is used by deep sea divers. If you go below, and I don't know what the number is, but it's somewhere below 100 feet, you have to switch from just regular air to a helium mixture, and if you want to live and still do deep sea diving. It also is used for aluminum welding. Aluminum is strange in that if you take iron and weld it, if you clean it off, it takes a while for oxidation to occur, and makes it hard to weld. With aluminum, you take a brush, you brush it, and it forms an oxide almost as soon as the brush leaves the top. I mean, just virtually instantaneously. So it makes it difficult to weld. And so one way they did this is that they would create an environment and clean the aluminum, and it couldn't oxidize because there's no oxygen there. So they called it heliarc welding. And so they would do that. So anyway, that is some of the information you need to know about helium.